Well, hello out there, planet Earth, and happy Friday. Hopefully, everyone is sticking to their New Year's resolutions of getting in shape for 2024. I know round is a shape. That's kind of what I've been working on. Anyway, it's Friday, and it's always Friday with me. I'm Stephen Fry, your SMB guy. Once again, ICYMI, or in case you missed it, SMB stands for Small and Medium-Sized Business. For the last 20 years, I've been a consultant for SMBs, a voice and a sounding board for our business leaders, advocating on their behalf, their employees too. I believe very strongly, everyone, in sharing stories, providing perspective, and creating connection. So every single Friday, you can find me right here on talkradio.nyc doing just that, lending what's left of my mind and my voice to this radio show where I interview SMB leaders as well as their trusted advisors. One thing that I've noticed consistently over the years is that some of the best thought leadership for SMBs, it actually happens on Friday, just about the time we feel that freedom of the weekend coming. However, we're also anxious to start the weekend, myself included. I like martinis on Friday night, so does my wife. These crucial pearls of wisdom, they're often overlooked, they're forgotten, they're eased aside in favor of our fun weekend activities and our freedom from the office, let's face it. Here on the show, we take advantage of that weekend freedom and clarity, and we discuss popular topics that are on the minds of our business leaders, as well as the folks who give them their guidance. Once again, the name of the show, not just to play on words. My last name means free in German. There is method behind the madness, a little bit of deeper meaning here, people. We talked last week with my buddy Jim Getz about that New Year's resolution to get into shape. What other resolutions do folks deal with this time of year? There's a lot of them, right? Well, one thing that really hits home for me is that we wanted to really do some home improvements this past year. The original plan was to do them while the kids were away at camp last summer, so we didn't have them in the way, and it was just me and my wife to worry about. Of course, what started out as a couple of simple home improvements, like replacing carpeting and flooring, it morphed into a massive construction project. And I know that's how it goes. I've been around the block once or twice. I know that. I didn't expect it, but this did include my wife knocking down the walls. Well, I did it too. I kind of blame it on her. This included knocking down the walls to my little radio studio that I built in the basement. So maybe it turns into something cooler moving forward. Maybe my kids completely invade my space. Who knows? But today I'm moving up in the world. I'm on the first level of the house. I'm not in the basement anymore. I am broadcasting live from the playroom. This is Stevie's Playhouse today, baby. So I know several friends who are looking for new houses to buy right now, and there isn't much to choose from. Regardless, once they find something that they like, they have to conduct the proper inspections. It's just part of the game. Whether it's required or not, they waive it. You want to make sure you know what's going on with the house. Well, one of those inspections that I remember when I bought my house almost 10 years ago is the Radon inspection. And unbeknownst to me until very recently, when I was chatting with my special guest, this month is National Radon Action Month. Who would have thought? Who knows, right? Not only that, January 22nd to the 26th is Radon Awareness Week specifically. So I thought today we would chat a little bit about increasing awareness around radon. I know it sounds like a boring topic. We're going to have a lot of fun with it, I promise you. So this came straight off of one of the websites pertaining to the Radon Awareness Week and National Radon Action Month. It says, the scene is your house and your community. The bad guy is radon, an invisible, silent home invader. You're the main character. Your family, friends, community members, they're in supporting roles. Your state radon control officer, radon mitigation or reduction contractor, and healthcare providers, they may be woven into the story as heroes for you. The story can be short and sweet with a happy ending if you test and, if needed, reduce the radon levels in your home. You can also be the hero in someone else's story by raising awareness about radon, which is what we're here to do today. Again, January 22nd to the 26th is Radon Awareness Week. This year's theme is What's Your Radon Story? And I got so excited when I read that because you guys know how much I love storytelling and sharing the stories here, right? So each day of the week features facts about radon with related graphics and social media messages and highlighted radon stories. So this is Monday through Friday, the week of the 22nd. It's like the current events of radon: who, what, when, where, why, who's affected by radon, what are the health effects of radon, where are people exposed to radon, when should I install a radon reduction system, and last but not least, why should I raise awareness about radon? As you all know, talk is cheap. We're on talkradio.nyc. We don't want this to just be talk. The goal here is let's use the insight on the business landscape and create some more impact on Monday morning. That's what we're all about. It's far too often, folks, the people I speak with, the business owners, their leaders, their managers, they're focused on some type of product that's going to solve all of their problems. The shiny new mousetrap, the magic wand, we've all seen it. One consistent thing I see out there: products change every single day with everything we do, whether it's our personal or our business lives. You have to surround yourself with the right people first. It's very important. Keep a focus on some type of tangible process, something that has a little bit of scientific method that will help you achieve your goal. If you do this, the right products will be there. They'll present themselves when they're needed by the SMB, by the person, by the business leader. Everything begins and ends with the people. It's a very important point that I keep trying to drive home the last 3.5 years. So in the spirit of surrounding yourself with the right people, we have a phenomenal show for you here today. Our special guest is Kelly Davis. She is the founder of Kelly Davis Services. She's a certified and insured radon professional. So Kelly is a former executive with over 35 years of experience in corporate America. She was the director of produce and floral for a large supermarket chain and was responsible for managing the procurement of fresh produce from around the world. This gave Kelly the opportunity to travel to farms and agricultural businesses in South Africa, Europe, and South America. In 2021, Kelly decided to seize the American dream of becoming an entrepreneur by obtaining her real estate brokerage license and working with RE/MAX. Since this was during the pandemic and folks around the world had much more awareness around their health, she saw a need for subject matter expertise in a particular area that comes along with buying that residential or commercial property, and that is radon testing. So Kelly became certified by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection in 2020, and in 2022, she started her own radon measurement business. She now performs radon testing in residential homes, commercial buildings, large residential buildings, schools, and daycares. Kelly prides herself on offering precise and accurate testing that suits the time and budgetary needs of her clients. She's got the short version, she's got the long version, whichever you need. I have always been super passionate about real estate. Whether you're looking at residential or commercial property, you want to have Kelly's number ready for your next purchase. We're going to talk about my favorite questions around movies, TV, and music. Have no fear. Joining us today from her many field travels, my friend and local networking group compadre, the most knowledgeable person I've met on the subject of radon. Kelly, welcome to Always Friday. Thanks for taking some time out to chat with me.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. The most knowledgeable person in radon, huh?
that I know. How many radon experts do I know?
That's what I mean.
I spent half of yesterday and a portion of this morning learning about radon, because I was just the fact that it's National Radon Action Awareness, whatever it is, like, and the Awareness Week. I was like, there's so much content out there about this. Most people wouldn't think it's possible. We're going to have a fun conversation about something that sounds like a boring necessity in the real estate purchase process. And believe it, like, I thought this was going to be the only podcast, radio conversation about this. There is a recurring podcast about radon work. So we're going to throw in some more fun content out there about it. But before we get there, Kelly, talk to the audience a little bit about your journey. How did you get where you are today?
So, I mean, you talked a little bit about my bio. I came from a supermarket chain where I bought fresh produce for a couple of supermarket chains, actually. So I feel like my reason on earth is to help other people be healthy. I took my job very seriously, trying to procure healthy fruits and veg for, New Jerseyans. And now, after I decided to take my journey to being an entrepreneur, I'm still in that field. I started as a realtor in 2021 during COVID. It was lucrative in the beginning, but as a brand new realtor, there's not a lot of work. I came with a huge inner sphere, but not everybody was willing to buy or sell. So I had a lot of buyers, not a lot of houses to sell them. So I was looking for a side job. a side hustle, if you will. And then I thought about becoming an inspector, but I'm a little too, even though I grew up, I'm a veteran, so I've been in the Army. I'm a tough cookie.
Thank you for your
But
service. I did
I,
not realize that. That's part of
yeah,
your bio. Why did we say that?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But, even though, I'm a tough cookie, I didn't want to be climbing on top of roofs, um, going through people's attics and, that kind of thing. So it wasn't the career that I really wanted. But the radon was something I felt was closer to my heart and what I feel like I should be doing in this lifetime, which is helping people stay healthy. So that's how I got into the radon testing gig and set up my own business in 2022. And hopefully by the end of this year, I'll have a couple of people working for me.
There's no hope. It will happen. It's
Put it
what
out.
was it Yoda who said there is no try, only do.
Very good.
But you guys will you will crush it. And I know we're in a networking group together, so that's part of your go to market strategy. I know that, but this is something where look, I love real estate and I always have,
Mhm.
but I don't know anybody else who specializes in what you do. I know all kinds of people in the real estate space. I don't know anybody who does what you do.
Right. It's amazing. Even when I go to homes to do the radon testing, the realtors haven't explained to their clients what radon is and why they should be looking for it in their new homes. So a lot of people just don't know about radon. I'm glad January is Radon Awareness Month, and January 22nd starts the Awareness Week, so that we really can get the message out there that you need to test your homes for radon.
And not only testing the homes when you're first buying it, and something we're going to talk about, but I'm doing all this work on my house right now, which turned into a small project and was started as a small project and became a much larger project. But I had myself the question of, I did this in the very beginning when I bought my house almost 10 years ago, but do I need to do it again? Like, is there a chance that something is creeping into my house now?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean,
there might be.
radon is, we go into what it really is. It's just a naturally occurring gas, comes up from the ground. It's just a breakdown of uranium. So it's in the earth. We go outside, we breathe in very small amounts of radon. Problem is, it can get in through the cracks and through the wells or through any foundational issues or structural issues you might have in your home. So it can get through and get concentrated at the lower levels of your home, especially when you're doing renovations. So as you're breaking things and redoing things and drilling things, you really need to make sure that if you're doing renovation in your home, especially in the basement, you should get radon tested.
So I think this goes without saying. You'll be paying a visit to my house at some point whenever this is done. The contractors, these guys, they're moving super fast. Anytime I have a contractor tell me how long something's going to take, I immediately triple it. But these guys have been working super fast. So more to come as far as when you'll be back here. But I like to tell everybody in the beginning of the show that it's not just a play on words. My last name is German; it means free. I just read a little bit about the history of radon and who discovered it. And anyway, it was actually a German physicist who discovered it. And again, radioactive substance that's naturally occurring. It just happens breakdown of uranium, radium, thorium. They're both emitted the same type of radioactive substance. And in addition to it kind of having issues, like it has health effects on folks, right? There's a history going back as far as the 1500s where like these diseases that were caused by radon, it was called mountain sickness back then, which is it was basically lung cancer, right? Like that's crazy to think about that it was around back then, it's around now. Like everybody has, there's been some research, there's been some work done on it, but by and large, the awareness around it, I would say, is probably still minimal. Like I know I had to test my house for it. I'm reading about all this stuff. It's not only is it something that causes illness, it's also something that's harnessed for medical science and actually treats cancer too. With when you're doing radiation treatment and all of that, which is crazy.
Right. Absolutely, because it really is just a radioactive gas, and it does cause like the CDC says about 21,000 deaths per year in the United States.
Oh yeah, we're going to get into that in just a moment, but we got to take a quick break. We will be right back with Kelly Davis, founder of Kelly Davis Services, certified and insured radon professional. Stay with us.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Friday. It's always Friday. And it's me, Stephen Fry, your SMB guy. We are chatting with my friend, Kelly Davis, founder of Kelly Davis Services, certified and insured radon professional. By the way, I should have given this disclaimer at the beginning. My house is currently under construction. There are people running in and out of my house. The dog is barking like an idiot. If you hear hammering, you hear dogs barking, you hear some really loud music, what can I tell you, people? I'm just hanging out in my house trying to do a radio show, and I got all kinds of action going on around me. Kelly, this is the method part of the show where we talk about the science behind what you do, the method behind the madness. Before we dive into it, though, this is something I typically do. I like to sit out by my fire pit for a moment and just tell a quick story and give a little bit of perspective on the subject of the day. This is something that, I like to build community, right? We belong to a networking group together. We have a great community that we're a part of, but you also need to protect the community you're a part of. This is something, when you talk about the radon testing, it needs to be done when you purchase the home, when you purchase the commercial building, if you're an SMB, you're a business owner, but it also might need to be done years later, as we were discussing just now. This is a gas that comes, it's a radioactive gas, radon, that comes out of the earth. And when you start doing home improvements, especially in the basement, like I'm doing right this moment, there might be some changes in what's coming into the house. So the idea of having someone like Kelly come over right after my renovations are done, I might not have thought about it until I started speaking with my friend from my networking group, but it's something that I am going to do. I don't want to have issues down the road. Listen, I like to party enough as it is. I don't want to have lung cancer from a radioactive gas that's in my house. We all have enough to worry about these days, especially after the pandemic years. I have a wake to go to later for a 62-year-old friend of mine that had a brief illness and passed away very quickly. Could have been radon related. I don't know, but it could have been some different strain of COVID. Who knows? But, just reading a little bit out there, Kelly, I actually found that there was another radon technician somewhere else in the country that talked about when the awareness first developed about the danger of radon in homes in the 80s. Somebody that was doing some work about building a nuclear power plant in Pennsylvania, the gentleman himself set off a radiation detector. and it freaked people out, like, because there was no radioactive material in the plant yet. They were building a nuclear power plant. They just installed the equipment and just assumed it was kind of on the fritz, malfunctioning.
Right.
Well, it turned out the equipment was working correctly. They tested the guy's house that set off the alarm and found such high levels of radon in his house that the person himself became radioactive. How crazy is that? It might have been glowing in the dark. Like, yeah, this event caught like all kinds of publicity. It triggered all kinds of research, and yeah, it freaked people out. Like, talking about the prevalence of indoor radon and what it could do to people. So just think, like, I was born in 1980. I'm 43 years old.
Right.
Like, how long have people been buying houses where they might have had radon in their house and they might have had some issue that they passed away from? It's like, that's crazy to me. Like, again, going back to 450 years ago, there were people that were dying from radon sickness, out there. So, Kelly, once again, the method behind the madness, the science behind what you do, the idea here is exactly what do you do, how do you do it, and how do you go to market for it? Let's get some method behind the madness. Talk to me.
So, it's very easy to be tested. You talk about all the horrors from years ago, but it's so easily detected. And I use just canisters that are that have charcoal, activated charcoal, and a mesh screen on top. And all that activated charcoal does is it just attracts any radon particles that are in the air, in the basement, on the first floor of your home. If you just have a slab, then we're going to place it on the first floor of the home. So I go in, I place 2 canisters, and that's just to make sure that the one canister isn't on the fritz. So both canisters should have the same readings. If they're too far apart, then I have to come back out and place 2 other canisters. But it's just so easy to check your home and make sure that you're safe. So I had to take about 16 hours, about 2 days worth of, it was just science. So I had to understand the science behind the radon. I had to understand about the atom particles and how it affects the lungs. So that's how the actual placing of my job, the actual placement of the test is pretty easy. I mean, there's some things, there's reports that have to be done, has to go to the lab, has to make sure, that the lab has the correct which is tested almost by the DPA also. So the labs have to be tested. Not only am I tested, the labs have to be tested. So I have to make sure it's a certified lab that I send all the tests to.
Yeah,
so,
naturally.
So that's part of my job. So, I mean, just doing this will help, you see if you have any radon issues, and it's easy and it's inexpensive. So.
Right. So, we had mentioned that before. There's the short version and there's the long version, right? So there's whatever people need. If it's something that's a necessity to close on a residential home, fine. If it's something that needs to be like a business, like some type of entity purchases an entire commercial building, decides to keep an office for themselves, for their business, for their SMB, and then rents it out to all kinds of other SMBs, then they're responsible for that. I would assume, it's something, again, that you're certified to do, that doing that version of radon testing is significantly more intricate than doing somebody's house.
Absolutely.
Is it not?
Absolutely. And then there's standards.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, that are set by the government that we have to do. So certain buildings, you can set one at the base level, but you have to set a test in each and every office on the first floor. And then on the second floor, you have to set a certain percentage, and they all have to be different inches away from windows.
Right.
They can't be right in front of windows. You can't place them in kitchens. You can't place them in basements or closets. Have to be away from the HVAC system. You have to make sure that the HVAC system is running so that you get a normal reading,
Right. Sure.
Also, it has to be 20 inches from the floor, 2 feet from the ceiling. So there's all kinds of intricate little details that go into whether it's a single family or commercial building. Daycares are the same way. Daycares, they have to be tested every 5 years. So,
Okay.
So, they get certified if they have their radon comes back, okay, I'm getting this all mixed up. But daycares are a little bit more intricate because they have to be done every 5 years and they have to be done a specific way. So that's another little variable that
I mean,
goes.
that's not a shock to me, especially a place that has children in it, right? You want to make sure that they're not breathing in something that they shouldn't be, especially at a young age. Like, is there research that indicates that like kids, if they're exposed to it, they have a proclivity, they might get sick? Like, I mean, I don't know.
There's not. There's
Okay.
not. It's just a normal.
Just a normal safety precaution, like yeah. Even if you're, I wonder if there are like for hospitals and things like for nursing homes, elder care facilities, are there those places? You know, daycare is one thing for the younger ones. What about elder care facilities? Same kind of thing.
Absolutely, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. We
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
makes sense.
Yeah,
So, so what else? Like, so residential. Yeah. I mean, like, I can't remember if it was mandatory for my house, but no matter what, it's something that I would always want to do. It's like, who wouldn't want to know if there's radioactive gas in their house? But, these days with, especially, you became a realtor during the pandemic, right? Everybody's waiving appraisals, waiving inspections. Is this something in some of the transactions where you saw people going, hey, I don't need that. That's fine. Like, I'll waive that. And then, like, did they call you back a little bit later and be like, oh yeah, I should probably come back and do this?
You know what normally happens? I know normally, especially in towns that don't have a high level of radon, they're talking to their realtor and the realtor says, oh, you don't need it. And then they talk to their neighbors after they buy the house and they find the neighbor had a high level, even though that town may not have a high prevalence of radon gas, their neighbor did. So that's when they call me and they go, hey, you know what? I think I want to get a radon test.
It becomes water cooler conversations. Oh, you got radon too? Oh yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Make sure I don't got it. Yeah, no, but that's it's something that's kind of table stakes, right? But I was always enamored by the idea of the appraisal side of things, right? And I have a lot of friends. I've interviewed folks who are residential and commercial real estate appraisers. I've interviewed our friend John Moses, who's an inspection guy, in addition to being a stand-up comedian, which is where a lot of his action is these days. He's getting kind of quasi famous, which is awesome to see, and he's funny as hell, so that's great. But doing things that are a little bit more niche-y in the real estate space have always kind of intrigued me. But again, this is one where I don't see many people specializing in it at all.
Very true. Very true.
So I'm excited for you because, the more focused, the more niche you can make your business model, the more, it's again, like even when you're like, we're in the same networking group, the same local networking group, the tip of Red Bank, right? The more specific you can be about certain things, with you, it's, anybody who's buying a house, those are kind of dirty words when you're talking about networking. Somebody, everybody, somebody, anybody, everybody. A lot of times that translates to nobody because people aren't thinking about specific terms. But your friends and family or whoever who are buying a house right now. I was mentioning to you when we were chatting that, I have friends that, I'm like in that crazy midlife crisis time right now where I have friends that are, relocating. I have friends who are getting divorced. I have, there's even folks, God, my friends who are people who are passing away, like, which is a scary thing. And there are people who are looking for houses, granted they don't have a lot of inventory to choose from, but this is something that you might hear about the inspections, you might hear about the appraisals. I don't ever hear anybody talking about radon inspection and who they're using for that. So it should be relatively easy to tee you up for all of
that. Good.
So, you talked about, like, I had asked you, I saw when, we were talking about your bio information that you were a 35-year veteran of corporate America. And we got to take a quick break here in just a moment, but I like the way you tied that together. It's like you were looking for, director of produce and floral and things like that on behalf of a large supermarket chain. You were shopping the world, for the fresh produce, like something that could be really farm to table, if you will, these days, a big term that people like, where it could be a little bit healthier for them and not genetically modified and nice and natural. Like, this is although it's radioactive, this is a natural emitting gas that is all around us that we might breathe in when we have cracks in the sidewalk, but we're not sitting and watching TV next to the cracks in the sidewalk. So like the idea of it being kind of health focused and really keeping people, healthy is good. but it's it's so important to create the awareness about it. And that's, again, I would have never thought to even have this conversation with you. I thank you so much for bringing it up in our networking group right after the new year, that January is National Radon Action Month. Like that's crazy.
Absolutely.
So we got to take a quick break here, and we're coming up to my favorite part of the show, which is the madness segment. Right, that's where we talk about the stories that you have from the field. Which I have. I know it's been a short time since you started this business. I have no doubt that you've seen some really fun stuff thus far. So I'm very excited to hear all about it, and so is everyone else. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Kelly Davis, founder of Kelly Davis Services, certified and insured radon professional. Stay with us.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
What really drives success in business? Introducing Intangify, the show that explores the intangible assets that create value and growth. I'm Matthew Asbell, your host and an attorney focused on innovation. Join me Fridays at noon Eastern to discover how innovation, culture, and other intangibles shape thriving companies from startups to established businesses. We'll share strategies to unleash your business's true potential. Tune in live on talkradio.nyc Fridays at noon Eastern and Intangify your business today.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back to Always Friday with me, Stephen Fry, your SMB guy. We are chatting with Kelly Davis, founder of Kelly Davis Services. She is a certified and insured radon professional. Like I told you guys in the very beginning, could be a very boring topic, something that's just a necessity in the residential or commercial property buying process. We're going to have some fun with it, even though there's some topics that might be a little, make you misty-eyed, make you cry a little bit. As I've told you guys many times, my buddy Logan, the engineer behind the scenes, by far the most interactive engineer I've ever had, he says he's learning a lot from this episode, and he says he's got an odd question. Can radon end up leading to someone with no genetic history of cancer suddenly developing it? So, Kelly, this is the madness part of the show. This is the artistic observational part of what you do. The stories you have from the field, no subject too taboo, anything goes. I have some thoughts I want to interject in here, but why don't you answer Logan's question very quickly?
First, to answer Logan's question, the answer is yes. So radon, the radioactive material, if it's concentrated in your home and you're breathing that material, the atoms, those particles get breathed in and attached to the lung. So it'll take like 5 to 20 years, but the accumulation of those particles in your lung will lead to cancer. And if you smoke, then there's an even higher incidence because your lungs are already damaged. Now you're adding those radon particles to your lung. So then, yes, you can get, even if there's no genetic history, yes, you can get cancer. So
speaking of smoking too, this is all information that's on the site about the Radon Awareness Week too, right? This is all straight from the CDC. Not only can you develop cancer, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer deaths in the country, next to smoking. Let me just let that sink in for a moment because that shocked me too.
That's right.
So Logan, yes, you want to get the radon stuff inspected in your house, and without a doubt.
Right.
So he just said to us also, my mom developed cancer, thankfully cancer free now, while in a relationship with a smoker. Secondhand smoke is no joke. Yeah, without a doubt. That's the one that a lot of people have awareness on, truth.com and all that stuff, like, even vaping, maybe safer. Now everyone's against that too. This is something where I don't see any commercials about radon. I don't see any history told about it. I don't see anybody besides Kelly pumping it up to me that it's Radon Action Month, National and Radon Awareness Week and all of that. But it's the second leading cause of lung cancer deaths in the country, in the world.
Right. The media is starting to get into it. We're starting to see a little bit more about radon and how United States, we should be looking at this. It is the second leading cause of lung cancer deaths in the United States. So we should be getting more information, and the media is starting to get on board. We're seeing a lot more.
Did you just call me media?
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. Oh man. But yeah, 1 out of every 15. This is just like I was sitting here like I couldn't like break myself away from everything I was reading last night and this morning. Like it could be something that's really boring, and maybe I'm a geek for taking interest in this. I'm a total geek anyway. It doesn't matter. But 1 in 15 homes around the U.S. has high radon levels. 1 in 15 homes.
It's a little lower in New Jersey, so that's across the United States. It's like 1 in 8 in New Jersey.
Oh, no, that's bad. I thought you meant lower. Like, okay, yeah, no, that's bad.
I'm sorry. No,
Yeah.
no.
Boo!
But the states that have the higher incidence are more the mountainous states, like South Dakota, Colorado. Those have lots more incidence of high radon levels.
And you know what's great? Again, like going back in the historical discussion, like when I was really young, I never really considered myself a big history buff, but I definitely developed a lot of interest in it along the way, reading about history and trends, and sometimes taking an interest in certain pieces of history repeating themselves, some of them that probably shouldn't. But this is something, you just said it, right? The mountainous states have a little bit more presence. And you go back to that comment about the 1500s, radon being emitted from those mountain regions and people calling it, mountain sickness. The people who live in the mountains they're getting sick.
Exactly.
It was lung cancer.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of, going back, it's National Radon Awareness Week starting on the 22nd. And like I had mentioned towards the beginning of the show, right? The theme this year, what's your radon story? I love that as a theme. Like, some of them might not be good. Some of them might actually be good. I saw a couple of them that were all about cancer survival stories. Like, that's cool. Like, that's at least a positive that you want to hear. This was one by a lady, Jackie, who's also my wife's name. Like, you may not have any symptoms, so test your house for radon. Like, and know your numbers. This is somebody who had lung cancer, and she survived, but my Aunt Sue passed away from lung cancer. Never smoked a day in her life. And who knows? Now she was heavy into art and things like that, so she was around a bunch of toxic fumes and things like that. As far as she was making some art stuff along the way, but who the hell knows? Like, maybe she was living in a building that had radon going on. She lived in Brooklyn her whole life.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it made the news maybe a couple of years ago, and it was either Utah or Idaho, where there's a huge, prevalence of higher levels of radon, and a community, everyone was getting sick with cancer, and they found out after they tested all of their homes that their levels were astronomically high. So the levels according to the EPA, the levels we measure radon by picocuries per liter. So I know that's a crazy.
I know. That's a totally geeky term that we don't expect all you listeners to memorize. But
when we're testing, you have to be under 4.0 picocuries per liter. So that's what you need to be under, 4.0. They were measuring like 23.
Holy.
So they found out that radon was prevalent in that county, and that's what was causing the majority of the sickness there.
You know, it's I couldn't help but think, and maybe like as you started to study this stuff and you got really, you know, attached to it, I couldn't help thinking of Erin Brockovich. You've seen the Erin Brockovich
Of course.
movie? Yeah, so
Mhm.
hexavalent chromium, like, you know, some radioactive material that's present in the water supply of Hinckley, California. It sounds like a very similar discussion, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, you
Gonna
know,
be the next Aaron.
you're gonna, I'm gonna, this is
I'm gonna be a
this is movie
lawyer.
material, Kelly. This is movie material we're working on here.
There you
Let roll
go.
with me, all
There
right?
you go.
All right. So, you know, going back to Radon Awareness Week, right? So, if you guys, I'll have the link posted in the notes for the show, but you know, so you guys could check it out. But again, the who, what, when, where, why of everything. There's, you know, a decent amount of current events. You know, the where are people exposed to radon, right? And it says kind of, you know, blatantly right there, your homes. Okay, so that's a big one, right? Schools, so your daycares, right?
Absolutely.
But also your workplaces. So, you know, you guys know, like, my show is about small, medium-sized business owners. So Kelly has her own entrepreneurial venture. She's a small, medium-sized business. She's also a trusted advisor to small, medium-sized businesses. There's plenty of folks that I work with who own their own commercial buildings, right? But this is something where, you know, what you do in your own home for yourself personally is up to you, right? If you want to not test for radon, you want to be exposed to it, you want to expose your family and friends to it, that's great. But if it's your workplace and you own the building and you have your own employees there and you rent property to other businesses that have their own employees there, that's a lot of responsibility. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I actually just did a law firm that came up in, I want to say it was in Red Bank. Came up high. It was kind of like 3.9. So, but he actually put in a mitigation system. So
Okay.
it was great for his employees. He was making sure that they were safe.
So for you, right? I know you're a technician, you do the testing. If we determine or you determine that somebody needs some type of mitigation or reduction system, is that something that you install or you partner with folks for that?
I partner with people for that. I partner with labs and other radon mitigation businesses to do that system. And it's easy. It's takes half a day to put the system in, gives you peace of mind. They just put a pipe, you know, under the slab, pipes out all the radon gas either through the sidewall or through the roof. And it's just easy, pipes out all the excess radon gas. And it's a normal, it's like $1,500 to $2,500 to get that system done.
Mm-hmm.
Give you peace of mind and to keep your family safe.
So, you know, we don't necessarily think of New Jersey as a very mountainous state, but it does have some mountains and hills in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I live in Monmouth County, right? And very proud of that. Been here on and off for 40 years, so that's cool. Atlantic Highlands is a town on the water that I actually love. It wasn't necessarily big and popular, and it totally is now. Like, everybody started flocking to it like crazy. But a few people know that there's a part of the Atlantic Highlands that's actually one of the highest point, if not the highest point on the eastern seaboard. Do you see in areas around, like, locally, like Atlantic Highlands, higher presence of radon than other towns around Monmouth County?
In Monmouth County, Atlantic Highlands is one of them. But there's not too many, you know,
that stick out like
concern.
horribly,
Yeah.
like the town in Idaho or whatever.
Exactly. The counties that are mostly up northwest. So you've got Warren County, Hunterdon, all of those counties
Yeah.
up northwest have
Yep.
high prevalence of radon.
And that makes complete sense to me, because you think about some of the only places that you can go skiing and go camping in the mountains, and they're in the northwest part of New Jersey. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So great stuff. I mean, some of it not great stuff. We don't want people developing lung cancer. We do want people surviving lung cancer, right? And again, for myself, something that I didn't really necessarily think of until we started talking about this, but yeah, I need to retest my home going forward. I know that, like, I'm doing these crazy repairs, and who knows what's going to happen. I get what's the unit of measurement again? It was too geeky for me to even remember. What'd you call it?
Picocuries per liter.
Picocuries, and it's named after Marie Curie.
I don't think so.
I can't blame a guy for trying. I do like the history, but you know, it's this is something you got to stay aware of. Again, we're all about increasing awareness around radon today. It's Radon Awareness Week coming up. It's something that could be a silent killer, just like heart disease, and it might be right in your own home. You got to check it when you buy the home or when you buy the commercial building. If you're a business, you got to check it after you do renovations and remodeling. It's as simple as that. We got to take a quick break, Kelly. We'll be right back, everyone, with Kelly Davis, founder of Kelly Davis Services. She's a certified and insured radon professional. Stay with us, everyone.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back to Always Friday with me, Stephen Fry, your SMB guy. We are chatting with Kelly Davis, founder of Kelly Davis Services. She is a certified and insured radon professional technician. Kelly, great stuff. Way to have a good time with what could be a boring topic to some people. I always like to have my pictures when I'm doing the green screen. Do green screen work. I'm going to send this to you. This could be your background on Zoom calls from now on, right?
Good. Yeah.
So yeah, that's right. I aim to please. I like this feeling makes me feel like I'm actually in the house instead of just some goofball with a microphone looking at it, right? So Kelly, this is the message part of the show. This is the whole idea from Weekend Insight to Monday Impact. I don't know about the folks listening, but this has been a very insightful topic for me. Again, like I've been interested in real estate my entire life. I'm 43 years old. I bought my first property when I was 23. I bought a bunch more ever since then. But I've been interested. It's not just the real estate brokerage side. There's the mortgage side, which I've done some work in, the inspection side, the appraisal side. But I don't know anybody who is a radon professional except for Kelly. She's my go-to person now. You have to surround yourself with the right people. Right. So Kelly is absolutely the right people. She spent many years in corporate America, finding the best of the best for a supermarket chain in the world of produce. Now she's bringing that type of skill and application process, if you will, to the world of radon testing. Again, maintaining the real estate license is a cool thing. Everybody's a realtor out there, especially after the pandemic and all the inflated prices in houses in Monmouth County. But not everybody is a radon professional. That's and right. Kelly is. So, I learned a lot just researching this and talking with Kelly and reading some of the history, which is, again, like I became a history buff over the years. The fact that in the 1500s, there were people getting sick and dying from what they referred to as mountain sickness, which was very likely radon poisoning and took on lung cancer. That's crazy. You would you think with all of our research and us setting off, radioactive testing, like a Geiger counter in the 80s with some guy who was radioactive from the radon in his house, you would think there'd be a lot more awareness nowadays, but I feel like there isn't. So Kelly, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today. I know you had to move around some of your field work with your busy schedule to come chat with me, but I do feel like it's very important. But I want you to, lay it on the audience, lay it on the folks you want to partner with, lay it on the people that you want to deal with from a residential and commercial standpoint. What kind of sound bites they need to remember and take to heart over the weekend while they're having cocktails and watching football?
So first, I would like to say that right now, usually between the months of October to April, that's the best time to get your home during the winter months and the cooler months to get your home tested. So I'm also insured for all of you people that have own homes. I'm actually insured. I've never had to use the insurance, but I am licensed and insured. Also, for inspectors out there that are listening, the great part of having a real estate license is the ease for me to work with real estate, other realtors, and get in and get access. So it's very easy for me to gain access to homes, to do the radon testing, and to pick it up. So that's a great plus, because not a lot of radon technicians have that ability, and it can be a little stressful working with realtors, even though I am a realtor.
100% agree. Like I have securities and insurance licensing, right? And it's not something I run around telling absolutely everybody, because a lot of my work, I partner with other trusted advisors. I partner with folks that have a lot of the same credentials that I do to deliver the best results and best solutions to small, medium-sized businesses. But I wholeheartedly agree, like having that type of training and background and licensing, it also, like, I like to think that my world, I can be an effective geek translator between trusted advisors and SMBs. I think you can too.
Right. I'm the best middleman right there. Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes people think that if there's a middleman, it's like there's extra expense and extra crap that you need to go through. Not with stuff like this. You want somebody, it's like not even like a middleman, it's more almost like a mediator, I would call it, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I like that better. Let's call it mediator.
Yeah, we're mediators. I love that one.
but yeah.
Also for business owners out there, commercial business owners, you do want to make sure that your employees are safe. So that's great. I go in, I don't mess up with the business that you're having that day. It's very simple. I just go in, I put the canisters in. So there's no problems with your business, disrupting your business that day. Also, I do a lot of daycares. And because they have to be done, I haven't done a large school, but I have done daycares. So any daycare owners out there or school administrators that need their schools or daycares tested, I'm also certified. Not every radon technician is certified to do daycares. That was in December, that was a new law that the government passed, that you have to be certified to do large buildings and daycares. So I had to take an extra 8 hours of classes to learn how to do that. The one thing that I have learned with doing so many daycares, I'm at that age where I'm almost ready to have a grandchild. So I'm looking forward to having grandchildren. But when I go into daycare centers, I have a great appreciation for the daycare workers, the teachers that do that, because I don't think I like kids so much. I have learned that I don't like kids. So I've learned something about myself doing this job also. But
they're not for the faint of heart, I'll tell you that. Again, I'm broadcasting from their playroom right now. They came in and saw my whole thing set up, and they freaked out like crazy, right? But yeah, it's if you're going to be a grandparent soon, that's a huge milestone. Like if it's not in the works yet, if it's in the works to be in the works, that's a fun thing to look forward to. But
I'm going to give them back soon.
But so the fun thing is you can give them back, right? But it's day 5 of Radon Awareness Week. The stories is why is it important to build awareness around this? Again, the whole idea today with what we're doing is building awareness around radon. It saves lives, pure and simple. And you were trying to make people as healthy as they can be, give them the tools to be the best that they can be when you were doing your work with produce. This is not very different, same kind of idea. Again, Kelly, I can't thank you enough for joining me today. Logan said, I could see where it would be a boring topic, but I'm totally engaged and loving every second of this. Hopefully all of you out there feel the same way that Logan does. Again, like I was running around looking at some of the details out there. There was a podcast called EH Nexus that recently had an episode about radon testing and everything. So we're not the only goofballs out here talking about radon and why it's important, why you need to create awareness around it. It is an important topic. They did it around smoking. The second leading cause of death in the world from lung cancer is radon. So it is something that's important that you can't gloss over. We have to part ways in just a few moments, but before we do, I want to share with everybody the answers that you gave to my 3 questions, my 3.5 questions, if you will. Who was your favorite movie or TV show character? What's your favorite movie or TV show? What's your favorite musical instrument? And who's the artist you'd like to hear play it? So without further ado, everyone, your favorite TV show character is one that I'm not familiar with, even though I lived in London for a little while and I enjoyed the BBC. But this character's name is Sarah Manning from a show called Orphan Black. And it's about a streetwise hustler pulled into a conspiracy after she witnesses the suicide of a girl that looks exactly like her. And I'm kind of intrigued a little bit by what this show is all about. But I can't say that I've ever tripped across it. So that's a complete new one. I like getting turned on to new things from you.
If you like sci-fi thrillers, you'll love this show.
Yep. And speaking of sci-fi thrillers, I do like sci-fi everything. Thrillers, comedies, drama, whatever. You said your favorite TV show is one called Foundation. And this is also one that I haven't heard of. It's a complex saga of humans scattered on planets throughout the galaxy, all living under the rule of the Galactic Empire. That sounds like some seriously heavy shit. I don't know what is this all about.
It's another sci-fi, but it really it gets into quantum physics. It's really interesting. It's a great show.
I do like quantum physics and time travel, so it might be something that hits my radar as well. But damn, like for a director of produce, like yeah, there's a lot of science behind the radon testing side of things. There might be a little bit of relationship here. You might like the scientific world for sure. But going on to the musical world, which is one is very near and dear to me. Your favorite instrument and the artist you'd like to hear play it. You said the piano, played by Stevie Wonder. I'm a piano player too. Nowhere near what the Stevie Wonder man is, but my whole family does call me Stevie. That's about as close as I can get. But Stevie Wonder, blind since shortly after his birth, child prodigy, signed with Motown at age of 11, where he was given the professional name Little Stevie Wonder. So I'm a big Stevie Wonder fan, always have been, and the fact that he's got the name Stevie always resonates well. But again, Kelly, thank you so much for joining me here today. Really appreciate it. Very important.
Thank you so much
topic.
for having me. I had a great time.
That's all I ever want to hear is you had a great time, and the time went by really quickly. Everyone's always intimidated by an hour-long show. Coming up next week, hopefully I'll have a finished house to broadcast from. I'm not necessarily signing my name to that, but these guys do work very quickly. Have a great weekend, everyone. We hope you gained some weekend insight to make a Monday impact. We will see you next Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on talkradio.nyc. Bye-bye, everyone.